Hey y'all, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I'm just going to hang out with you a little bit today and as I go about my daily routine of taking care of our home on the homestead. I'm retired, so it's a little more laid back than it used to be when I was working and had a bunch of kids at home. But currently it's pretty laid back. Most of the time there's just the two of us here, me and James. But our house, our little cottage, so to speak, is pretty small. So when we have all of the family over here like we do sometimes, boy, it makes a mess. But the good news is we pretty much have a place for everything and know where everything goes and can put it back where it goes pretty quickly. So in the afternoons, the sun comes through those windows really bright, so we have to close them. So in the mornings, I open them because I like sunshine. I like fresh air. I open the windows when I can. And it's getting that time of year where I have most of the windows open all the time because I really enjoy the crisp air in September and October. Although it was cool enough this morning, it was in the 50s. And that 50s mark is when I like to have a fire in our wood-burning fireplace. But I don't have any wood yet, so that'll have to wait just a week or two. James, my sweet husband, is a salesman, and we don't have an office anymore in our little homestead cottage here. So he often makes our little dining room table his office space and works from right there in front of the wood-burning stove. So in the mornings I'll have to clean up his little mess a little bit. But it's not bad. I'm not using a tablecloth on that table. I'm using just a throw that I got, that I was using over one of my rockers. And I thought it would be pretty over the table. What do you guys think? Now on to the messiest part of my house, normally. My counters in the summertime and in the fall, the early fall, my counters are normally full with all of the appliances that I use to preserve our garden. From the pressure canner to the water bath canner and the roaster and the crock pot, sometimes in the dehydrator, all that stuff on my counters. And we live in a pretty small little cottage, so we don't have a lot of space. So sometimes I put the dehydrator out on the porch, but my counters just stay full this time of year of different things. And right now I've been making a lot of sourdough products. I've been trying to expand my learning and use my discard a little bit better, and making a lot of like muffins. And I made some sourdough brownies and a sourdough, like a cinnamon roll type of loaf. It was actually really good. So anyway, my counters are stay full with all of that kind of stuff that we're actually using, and it would probably not be quite as cluttered if I didn't have some decor on there too, but I do. So that's how it works. So there's usually jars. Good gracious, I can't keep up with the jars, transitioning the jars from, the items we use to the dishwasher to then putting them back out in the garage where they stay. That's a constant battle. These sunflowers right here, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to take them and hang them upside down and dry them and maybe use them in some kind of arrangement later in fall. I've got a whole garden area that's still full of sunflowers, and I'm going to go cut another bouquet in a little bit and put out here because they're still really pretty. But boy, they shed. They make a mess. All the pollen, it makes and it stains your clothes too. So if you're gathering sunflowers and letting them sit for any amount of time, they drop a lot of pollen. No wonder the bees like them, huh? I'm using a Dollar Tree product that smells like lavender to clean my counters, and I absolutely love it. I ordered off of TikTok some of the viral, real popular, I think it's called Brazilian Mist cleaner, and my husband likes it. I do not like it at all. I prefer the lighter lavender scent, and this is $1.25, or probably maybe $1.50 now. I think our Dollar Tree is going up on prices on just about everything, so that's just not fun. I'm probably going to stop shopping a little more at like the Family Dollar and the Dollar General. They still have quite a few items that are just $1, things that the Dollar Tree used to carry for $1. But I mean, there's still some bargains at Dollar Tree, just not as many as there used to be, you know. But I will say some of the quality of the products is better. Like this spray that I used to clean is really nice. It works. It does a good job, and it smells just yummy. Maybe yummy is not the right word. It smells like lavender. It smells nice. So I really enjoy the rhythm of a homestead, of even the cleaning, from the milking and taking care of the animals to the, cleaning up my house and making up my bed. I enjoy all those domestic things that we need to do in a day. I haven't always. When I was younger and had a lot of kids to take care of and was trying to work, that stuff could be kind of monotonous and hard. At this point, it's just, I enjoy it. It's peaceful, and I can put on some music and just take my time and just enjoy it. It's just really peaceful to get, and it feels good to get it done. I enjoy even the dishes. And my mama would laugh because I hated doing dishes growing up. But we didn't have a dishwasher. We were the dishwashers, she said. But I didn't much like doing dishes. But we would have fights with the dish rag sometimes. That was kind of fun. Not really. It wasn't fun at all. It was gross. I didn't like it at all. But the day-to-day items that we do, the routines that we do to keep everything running and flowing and moving the way it should. In my retirement years, I have really come to enjoy the peace of all that. I know I look at my children and their lives are so hectic and so busy, and they exhaust me. They're just always going somewhere, always doing. The kids are playing ball or doing some kind of sports or in some kind of activity, all of them. And I mean, frankly, we have a hard time getting to all of them. But I enjoy going to those things. They're a lot of fun. And it's neat to see my grandkids learning all of the things that you learn by doing those sports, with football and at one place soccer and one that wrestles, and they learn a lot. Y'all, excuse me, my voice I'm having a hard time. It's kind of scratchy today. I don't know if I'm getting a cold or what, but that's not fun. Putting away silverware is my least favorite part of cleaning, I think. I'd rather fold clothes, which is my second least favorite, I guess. But what do you guys enjoy and not enjoy about keeping up your home and taking care of it? This is a Samsung dishwasher that we got when we moved into this house, and it has not been the greatest dishwasher. It don't always get things clean, so I have to be kind of careful how I load it. My husband gives me a little bit of grief because he loads things. He's left-handed. He loads things in a left-handed way, and I come back and fix it. He don't always like that, but frankly, the dishwasher just has to be loaded a certain way to get the dishes clean. He just won't do it if you pile them in there, where the water can't get to it. So got to just made some breadcrumbs. If you see the bag sitting over there, I took my leftover sourdough and cut it into sauces and put it in the oven to dry it out a little bit, and then put it in my Vitamix and made breadcrumbs with it. I'm trying to decide whether I want to season it with something or just leave it plain and season it as I need it. That probably makes the most sense, don't it? The area on the left where you see the breadcrumbs in the jars is the area I struggle with the most. Most of that stuff that's things that needs to go be put up somewhere at some point, or things I'm working on. So I have that area right there is always the most cluttered of anything. This is some sage that I put in the dehydrator and dried. And I didn't have time to powder it when I pulled it out of the dehydrator, so I'm about to powder it and put it in the jars and put it away. I grow the sage, goodness gracious, it comes back every year. In fact, it don't even die in the winter, most winters. It's a huge plant. I have regular sage, and then I have pineapple sage, and I grow oregano, and I grow thyme, although not as well. The things that do the best for me in my garden are I have some garlic chives, and I have the sage. Those come back and do well every year, and the pineapple sage. But I know somebody who grows oregano in a great big, huge bush, and it don't ever die. Mine does. Maybe I'm not growing the right kind. Maybe y'all can tell me what kind I should grow, if you know. I'm in North Georgia, so y'all let me know. I love my new Vitamix. You just don't realize how much you use something until you don't have it. That red coffee cup belongs to my husband. That's his favorite cup. He's a Georgia Bulldog fan, a big Georgia Bulldog fan. When I met him, he didn't own any clothes that didn't say Georgia on them somewhere. He does now. Do y'all watch college football? I'm an Alabama fan. Roll Tide, y'all. So I'm going to make some yogurt out of our raw milk. And I learned last year, when you're using the Instapot to make yogurt, the seal on the Instapot, if you've used that seal for meat products, like making a pot roast or something like that, the seal retains the flavor of those meats. So I have to use a completely different seal, a new one that I only use for dairy when I'm making yogurt. The first time I made yogurt using the Instapot last year, and I didn't know that, my yogurt tasted like meat. It tasted like pot roast. It was not good. It was not good. It went directly in the trash. I didn't even feed it to the animals. I didn't think they would like it either. So I have to order, and you need to change the seals out on your Instapots pretty often anyway, so I just bought a 3-pack this time, and that way I can use the clear one. There's one that's a translucent color, and it'll be my dairy seal, and then I can use the other two, change them out and use those for when I'm making other products. Our family really loves yogurt, but getting it started the first time, you have to have a culture. So I have to have some cultured yogurt. And it's kind of hard to find cultured yogurt in the grocery store that's not full of, a bunch of junk. Like to start my cultured yogurt from our raw milk, I want it to be fairly fresh, and I want it to be cultured, and I don't want it to have any other products in it. I want it to have flavors, that kind of thing. Because if I want to add flavors, I want to add those myself. We do add some vanilla at the end sometimes. So we like to eat yogurt with granola. Eat it kind of like cereal, just granola and vanilla yogurt. That's really good. And the seals just pop right in. I was going to write dairy on it. The last ones I had, I was able to write on them and write dairy on one and meat on the other one. That don't work on this. It won't. My Sharpie won't write on it. So I just know the clear one's going to be for dairy. Yogurt's pretty easy to make. You have to pasteurize it first, bring it up to a certain temperature, and then you cool it off in an ice bath. You bring it down to, I think it's about 110 degrees or something like that. I have to look at the recipe. And then you add a cup of the cultured yogurt. And so once I have some made, then I'll just save a cup and use it, the next week when I'm making yogurt. But for now, I have to use one from the store. You add that in there, and then you just set it to yogurt on your Instapot. And I do it about 10 hours because we like ours a little bit sour. So I do it about 10 hours. Look at all that milk and cream. I've got to get busy and make some cheese and some yogurt and some buttermilk and some sour cream and all the stuff. Because we ran out of jars. I don't have quite enough half-gallon jars, so I have to keep everything flowing. And you really don't want the milk to go bad too. Milk don't ruin raw milk don't ruin the same way as store-bought milk. It just changes. And here I am going to skim off all my cream off the top. So if you leave your raw milk in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours, the cream thickens and rises to the top, and you can just take a scoop and scoop it right off. And then I can make butter, which is my favorite thing to make with cream, or I can make sour cream, which is delicious from raw milk. And there's a lot of fun things you can make with cream. If you're going to make cheddar cheese, you need to leave the cream in the milk. But I'm still learning all of these dairy products and how to make them and what recipes I like better. I've tried sour cream a couple of different ways, and I have finally found one that I really like, just using the cheese culture. You use a mesophilic culture, and you basically bring the heavy cream you don't bring it to a boil. You warm it to a certain temperature, and then you add your mesophilic culture, and then you just let it sit overnight, and it thickens up so beautifully. And if you drain the liquid off of it, then it becomes cream cheese. Otherwise, it's sour cream. So you can basically get two products with one process. But I can tell you, cream, the guy at the street, the dairy farm up the street that sells his raw milk and cream, I think he sells he sells a quart maybe of his cream for like $14 or something. It's real expensive, but it should be. You don't get a lot of cream from the milk. Well, honestly, you do if you don't share with the calf. We are calf sharing, which means currently we milk once a day, and the calf gets to be with mama the rest of the time. And a cow will hold back their cream and not give you as much cream. So we don't get nearly as much cream as we would if we did not share with Izzy, the little calf. And at some point we'll probably change and go back to milking twice a day and just separate them completely. But that is such a painful process because they both carry on and cry for about 3 days when you separate them. Cows are very sensitive. They are very protective. The mamas are. And one of the things that surprised me a whole lot was that Jethro, the dad, he seems to have bonded with his calf. Now, they're separated by a fence. He's a bull, and he stays out with the bulls. But in the mornings when you go up there early, Izzy, the little baby calf, will be sleeping next to the fence line, and they'll be kind of back to back, laying next to each other. And if you're ever doing anything with the calf, like the other day we were trying to change its collar and put on a different halter. And of course, she was crying and carrying on. You would have thought we were killing her. And Jethro just was pitching a fit on the other side of that fence. He was very concerned that we were hurting his baby. And I just had no idea that. I knew that mama cows were protective. I did not know that about bulls. Did not. What I try to do is I wait till I have about a quart of cream, and then I make butter. And that will give me equivalent to about 4 sticks of butter, give or take. And butter is real temperamental. So when you're going to make butter, you take the cream out of the refrigerator and you let it come to room temperature. Otherwise, it takes forever for the butter to separate from the buttermilk. It just takes a long time. But when you let it come to room temperature, for me, it generally takes between 15 and 25 minutes. I just put it in my KitchenAid stand mixer, and cover it because it will splash everywhere. And then after a little while, you'll hear it. It makes a sloshing sound, and you can tell that it's broken. And then you'll be able to see the butter and the buttermilk. And you have to wash it. You wash it and wash it, which sounds really strange, but you wash the butter to get all the buttermilk out because otherwise it'll ruin quickly. That, frankly, is not an issue at our house. Butter does not last long. Fresh butter most certainly does not last long enough to go bad at all, ever. Ever. So you have some fresh butter and some fresh sourdough bread. It goes really fast in my house. So you can see I've got almost a pint going here. With what I've got out over the last, looks like 2 days worth of milk that I've got there. And the cream's going back in the refrigerator for now. I'm looking at my recipe for yogurt because I'm going to take a gallon of this fresh raw milk and I'm going to put it in the Instapot, and it'll pasteurize it. It don't take long, about 15 minutes, and it'll bring it to a certain temperature, which pasteurizes it. And then I can move on with the process in this. a little less than a gallon of milk there that's fixing to go in. Because neither one of those are completely full after I skimmed off the cream. If you've never tried raw milk, you should at some point. And before you do, look it up. Do some research about the difference between. Now, you'll have to dig a little bit because there's a lot of propaganda out there. At some point, I'll tell you guys the story of what happened with raw milk and how it became so demonized. But it's actually healthy. It's a lot healthier. When they pasteurize it for the grocery store, they do two things. They pasteurize it and they homogenize it. So they pasteurize it, and basically that's like we're doing here to get for this yogurt, and they bring it up to a certain temperature, and that kills most of the good vitamins and even the good bacteria, which our body needs. We don't get nearly enough of the probiotic kind of good bacteria in our bodies anymore. And the vitamin D and all the good stuff that you really can't get a whole lot of other places. You need the sunshine for vitamin D. But it kills off all of the good vitamins, and it just tastes so much better. Fresh raw milk in the spring when the grass is green is so sweet. Oh, it's so sweet. And sometimes it's almost got a bright yellow color. For the milk and the butter, they're just beautiful. And here I'm just going to use some yogurt. I will tell you, I'm going to have to redo this because I used a cultured yogurt that we had, but it had flavor in it. That's not what I wanted. So we'll use this, and then I'll have to make another one and try again. As you can imagine, I wash a lot of milk jars every day, and when I have a load of milk jars in my dishwasher, I have a sanitize button on here, and I run it through on really, really hot water. Our water is extremely hot, and I run it on the sanitize mode. I do that with my jars when I'm canning too. And while my dishwasher don't always get things clean, it does a good job with jars. It sanitizes them. Anything on the bottom right generally gets very clean. It's the top rack that struggles sometimes. Now I'm going to make some cottage cheese. And I am bringing this milk up to temperature. Y'all, it's time for some iced coffee. In the middle of a busy morning, it's time for some iced coffee. I drink hot coffee till about 10 a.m. and then I switch to iced coffee. Do you guys like iced coffee? My husband says I don't like coffee, and he says I like creamer with a little coffee, which is probably true. I like all the flavors. Now I'm putting a little bit of vinegar in the cottage cheese. I've got two things going here. On the right there, that's the yogurt culture that's going to go in the Instant Pot, and that vinegar is going to go in my pot to the left. The pot to the left is what I'm making cottage cheese out with. And that's 2 tablespoons of salt. That's a mineral salt. It has all the vitamins, all the minerals in it. It's one of the wetter salts. My husband does not like it. Let's see if we're up to temperature yet. 101, not quite. 122. Let's be 120. Let's pull it off the heat. Let it cool just a little bit. In goes the vinegar and the salt. And you see the curds have separated. Look at those pretty cottage cheese curds. Does anybody else have a husband who leaves cabinet doors and drawers open all over the house? I love it. I don't mind going behind him and closing them at all. I love that man. So let's make a bed. My husband made me this bed. He built it for me. It's actually made out of doors. We still need to do a little bit of work to it. It's got shelves at the top, and it ultimately it's supposed to have like columns on each side, so it's not completely finished, but I absolutely love it. And we had this sign made that says, "Always kiss me goodnight," and I've got a couple of different signs that I use different times of year for fall and for Christmas. I will say, I think there's something almost worshipful about taking care of your home and making up the bed and making things cozy and, just kind of spreading love all over your house as you organize things and straighten it and keep it clean. I find it almost worshipful. There's something worshipful about being grateful to the point that you take care and of the things you've been blessed with. That you pay attention to the abundance that the good Lord's given you by taking a moment to care for it. There's a quote by Catherine Patterson that says, "What a gift of grace to be able to take the chaos from within and from it create some semblance of order." And Emily Dickinson said, "Home is the definition of God." So homemaking then is worship, right? Again, I haven't always felt this way. It comes with age. And if we find a way to find joy in these mundane daily rounds that we have to do to keep our home functioning, it just makes you grateful that you have a home, because everybody don't. Okay, now it's time to take my vitamins. I don't know if I've told you guys this story. You probably can't tell by looking at me, but I had gastric bypass surgery about 10 years ago. I lost about 110 pounds. I've gained back about 50, but I'm still way smaller than I was. I'm still healthier than I was. I would still like to re-lose some of the weight, but I have to take a ton of vitamins every day, and that's just part of my morning routine. So, I have to take like calcium and last year when I got really, really, really sick with severe anemia, it was because I wasn't taking the iron. And my iron got so low that I wasn't producing enough oxygen to let me move from the couch to the kitchen without heavy breathing. So needless to say, I take the iron every single day and the multivitamin and all of the stuff. There's probably 8 or 10 vitamins that I have to take every day, and they have to be spaced out. Like I can't take calcium at the same time that I take iron. They have to be taken at least 2 hours apart, and I have to take calcium twice a day. So I take calcium in the morning and at bedtime, and iron in the middle of the day. So it's a little bit to keep up with, but it's well worth it, because I can tell you, I was knocking on 300 pounds when I had my gastric bypass surgery, and I feel so much better. I can move. My blood pressure's not high. I don't have to take blood pressure medicine anymore. And again, I would like to lose some of the weight that I've gained back. About 30 pounds would make me real happy. I'm short. I'm 5'1", so a little weight shows. So, but I mean, I can get around. I do, with taking care of the homestead, we do between 10 and 15,000 steps every day, getting things done. So we're busy. But when I gain a little weight like I am now, I tend to what I call weeble wobble. Any of you that are my age, there was a commercial years ago. I think it was a children's toy commercial, and it said weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That's how I feel when I walk sometimes. I just weeble wobble. And that's the shelf. The shelf is full of all of our wedding memorabilia up there. And I change out the greenery up there with the seasons. All right, so now back to the cottage cheese. I've got my cheesecloth in my strainer, and I am going to boil some water in my kettle and sanitize the cheesecloth before I pour my cottage cheese in there. I have a whistling kettle, and I like it. Some people hate the whistling kettles, but I really like mine. It takes her a few minutes to whistle, but she's loud. I can hear her from anywhere. Let's sanitize the cheesecloth. And then goes the cottage cheese. Now I'm going to tie up all the corners and hang it on my faucet and let it drain for probably an hour. Now, putting some more ice in the ice bath, getting ready for the yogurt to come out. We need to cool it off fast for a little bit. In the meantime, let's put the sage away. These are, almost all of them are items from my garden that we have dehydrated and powdered. Some of them are powdered. There's a few of them that I'll kind of left as crumbles. I've got lemon thyme and dill and sage. I've got garden sage and sage that I got from the Amish community. And then these are dehydrated okra and pepper powder and dehydrated cucumber powder that I use in soups. And there's some peppers. And those are some herbs that I use for medicine up there. And there's my sweet goats and cows out enjoying the day, having a good time. That's Priscilla. We think she may be going to have a baby, y'all. We'll see. If she's pregnant, she came to us that way. So we will see. It shouldn't be long if that's the case, because she's looking pretty fat. And I decided to have an egg sandwich for lunch, y'all. Do you guys have egg sandwiches? And let's see if the yogurt is cooled down to where it needs to be. And let's put it back in the Instant Pot, and we'll set it on yogurt for 10 hours. And then tomorrow morning we will have yogurt. Got to add the yogurt culture. And again, this one was flavored, and I don't really like to do that to start my yogurt that I make from home. So I'll probably start this over. And we use this batch, of course, but I'll make another one that I'll start using cultures from each week when I make yogurt. So my Instant Pot and my my electric pressure cooker both have lids like this. One goes on one way and the other goes on the other, so I always get mixed up in how it goes. I struggle with it a little bit. 10 hours, there we go. And this is the cottage cheese. It didn't make a lot. But this is where it's dry here, and then I'm going to add some cream back to it to give it the creaminess. And then tomorrow I'm using this to make a lasagna with. You tell me this looks like what you buy from the store. This is delicious. A little cream, and it needs a little salt, and I mean, I could just sit and eat this. Put some fresh fruit on this. I could eat this all day long. This is so much better than cottage cheese you buy from the store. It's time to milk. When it's time to eat, she comes a-running. She gets some grain for her dinner, and she really enjoys it. Milking's such a peaceful time. We milk in the evenings when the sun's starting to go down. It's nice. And a little easy. Our baby, she tries to stay close when we're milking. So far, she hadn't tried to interfere. Ain't she cute? Y'all, it's time for Friday night football with the family. My grandson Jet is a junior this year, number 27, and he is a very good football player, and we enjoy going to football games on Friday nights when we can. It's a family affair. Something about September and football that they just go together. And high school football, there's just not anything like it. It's just fun. These kids just play their hearts out. And there's my Jet. My friends, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all be blessed and come back and see us next time.